Hey guys, welcome back to another video on my channel. Today we're back with another snapshot. This is snapshot 25W36A. Now before we jump to this video, a lot of people thought pre-releases would start this week. It doesn't seem like that's the case, but we do know the name of this game drop. The third game drop has now been confirmed to be called the Copper Age. That was announced, I think, on Friday of last week. Now, we don't know a release date. That'll probably come in a few weeks' time, either at Minecraft Live or they'll do another video or something covering the release date. But there are some new things within this snapshot, so let's quickly cover them. Now, there are no new additions for the update. There are some technical changes and some small quality of life changes to the game. So the first thing we're going to cover is world border. World borders are now per dimension. So the world border you have in the overworld could be different to the world border you have in the nether or the end. So let's quickly just set the distance of the world border to 10, and let's just do it for 1 second. So that should set the world border. Yes, here we go, right here. Now, if I was to quickly just set up a nether portal, you can see the world border isn't here. So now if I was to set this one to, let's say, 25, distance of 1, you can see it's now got its own custom world border. And if we was to head back to the overworld, you can see the overworld one is still only 10 blocks long. I can now set this one to 100. Let's do that. So you can see it grows. Going to the nether, you can see the one in the nether hasn't changed. This is going to be so good for a lot of different things, especially servers where you want to limit where players can go. The next change Minecraft have made is to copper lanterns and copper torches. They have updated the green fire to make it more accessible for colorblind people. Now, it isn't a huge difference for most people, but if you are colorblind, then they have just made it a different shade of green so you can tell the difference between the different torches and lanterns. Now, the next change in this snapshot comes with the settings of the controls. Now, if we was to go to controls and we was to make two keybinds have the same, so let's have walk forward as space, and then we also have jump as space. The first change here is two conflicting keybinds will now be shown in yellow rather than red. And this is just to tell you they are conflicting, rather than just telling you a big massive warning. But the difference here is we can now use that for both. So if I jump, as you can see, I'm walking backwards while jumping. So it means that one key can now be used for multiple things. It's no longer just one key for one. Now, there is also a new category in keybinds for spectator, and this is highlight players. It's not bound by default. And then you also have select on hotbar, and this is by default middle button. So if I was to go in spectator and click my middle button, it just brings up this menu at the bottom. Before, it couldn't be changed and it was always on the same key. So if I was to now go down here and set this to, let's say, I, we can then click the I button and you can see it shows up. Now, they've also made a change to the sky fog again, and this is while the dragon fog effect is active. So this is basically while the ender dragon is alive, the flash source in the sky is not visible and the brightness of the effect in the world is reduced. So if I was to quickly just fly up, I don't really see a difference. You can see it is still very bright purple, even though the dragon is alive and the fog is taking place. Now, it's not visible within the sky, so if I was to look around, I can't see where the flash is coming from, but it does still seem to be very bright purple. Maybe it's not as bright as it was before, but you can see it's still very bright. Now, the next thing in this is a technical change, and I think this is a technical change a lot of people are going to like. There is a new entity, and this is the Mannequin. Now, if we was to quickly just summon this, once again, a quick disclaimer, there is no way to get this entity in survival mode. It can only be gotten from commands. And we can get this by doing /summon and then Mannequin, and if I was to spawn this, you can see it spawns a player. Now, the player just uses the Steve model by default, and it works pretty much like a player, but it doesn't move. Now, if we was to quickly just get the data of the entity, so you guys can see what kind of data it has, you can see it has the health, which is around 20. It also has the player's profile, so you can give it a texture, which in this case, it just has the Steve texture. It does also seem like you can unhide certain layers. It seems like it will always have the Steve texture to begin with. And another thing to note, there is no spawn egg for the Mannequin. Now, if we quickly just jump to the patch notes, there is quite a lot of things you can do with this. So you can see the mannequins right here. A mannequin is a player avatar. There is a lot of different things. They can hold and wear equipment. They can also have attributes and effects, and they can also take damage. So you can give them things like strength, you can give them night vision, although they won't physically attack the player. And you can see right here, you can pass in a profile, which this is basically a player's profile to have the player's skin, cape, elytra, and things like that. Now it takes in the same as the profile component, or you can also pass it in through a mannequin profile, which takes in the following: a texture, the cape, the elytra, the model. And then there are also some hidden layers, which you can specify cape, jacket, left sleeve, right sleeve, pants leg, and hat. There we go. You can see I have created a mannequin right here with my skin equipped. Now I've just done that by doing this command, so /summon mannequin, and then the coordinates with then profile and my Minecraft username. And this just gets the very basic profile, so you can see it has my cape and it also has my skin. Now I can also damage it. I could give it effects if I wanted to, so if I was to quickly just grab invisibility. I can also splash it with invis. And another thing you can do to these is you can give them attributes, meaning that I'm invisible, meaning that you can give them things like locator tags. So you can have one of these within your world that gives off a special locator for multiplayer servers. Now another thing to note about these is you can see it does show NPC under their name. If you go too far away, that does disappear and it just shows the player name. Now, I'm guessing you can rename these with name tags, so let's quickly just give that a go. So if I was to quickly just rename this, let's just rename it to my name, and it would help if I could spell my name. There we go. So if I was to rename this one, yes, you can see it renames it, and then once again, if I go far away, the NPC part will disappear. Now, there are a few things I want to try. Can they go in boats? So if I was to place a boat down, they can. So you can put them in boats as well. Then I'm guessing they can also go in minecarts. Yep, it doesn't seem like it's going in the minecart. The minecart's colliding with it. Oh no, there we go. It can go in minecarts. Now they can also be moved and things like that. So if you want these as like a player on your world that people can't move, then you are going to have to edit a lot of its data. Now, one thing I do quickly want to try is, can you lead them? I'm guessing not, but it's worth a try. No, you cannot put a lead on them, which is totally understandable. Now, a quick little note, Minecraft have specified in this snapshot, they have made some changes to particles and block entities, mainly on how they render. This won't affect how they work, but you may notice some improvements in performance, or you may notice some bugs, and if you do find any bugs related to the rendering of them, make sure to report them. Now, particles. They have made a change to these. Particles are obviously what we just saw around the mob, but there are a load of different particles within the game. For example, all trees now display them with the falling leaves. What would change here is that particles will no longer be played if they are outside of your render distance, and this change has been made to improve performance in some cases. Now, the final change within this is shelf blocks. These can be powered. Well, there was a bug where you could power them even if they weren't in the same direction. For example, I could power these two right here, and then also this one right here, and it would connect to them. Well, that is no longer the case now, and if I was to power all three of these, you can see only these two will connect. This one connects on its own. Now let's cover some of the bug fixes in this update. There are quite a lot of them, and I'm only going to cover the ones related to the copper golems, just because these are very buggy and a lot of people want the bugs to be squashed out. So the first thing is, if you have a copper golem that has taken an item from a chest and they was to place it within a double chest, there was a bug where a repeater wouldn't read if it was coming out the right side. Well, a repeater will now read no matter what side, so if I was to quickly just do that, take the items out of here, you can see both of these repeaters will update to show that the chest now has items. The next thing is, if you was to break a copper golem statue with a pickaxe that has a custom pose, the pose will now be stored. This was a Bedrock Edition feature, and it's a shame that it wasn't in Java. Well, it's now here. You can see them right here. You have the sitting one, you have the star jump, you have the running, and then you just have the normal standing. Now, they have also fixed a few more bugs related to copper golems. First off, them opening chests was biased to the northwest position. This has now been fixed. I'm not sure how they've fixed it, But also, copper golems could open chests if the chest was locked. Well, this is now not the case, and they will need the key if they need to open a locked chest. Now, there are a lot of bug fixes related to the poses. First off, their arms weren't connected, there was some sea fighting with the head in some poses, and there was also some issues with the nose being inverted, and all the poses for the copper golem statue should now be fixed. But anyway, that is it for this snapshot. There are a lot more bug fixes, but I'm not going to mention them because a lot of them are just small minor things. I will have the patch notes linked in the description if you do want to check out everything that's changed. But we are coming very close to the end of this update cycle, and it's very good to see that they are still focusing on bug fixes related to copper golems, as well as the new features. I really do like some of the changes they've made in this version. Anyway, if you enjoyed, do like and subscribe, and I guess I'll see you guys in another one very soon. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye!